Okay, and we are live. Okay, we will begin the webinar in another 30 seconds, but before that, if one or two of you could just confirm that you can see my screen and hear my voice clearly, that would be great. Um, I believe we don't have a chat option in this webinar, but you could just raise your hand and I would know whether or not you're able to hear me. Okay, I see that Satvik and Mohana have raised their hands. Great, great, great. So everyone can hear me, right? All right, great. Um, Amazing. Let's begin. Good evening, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you live. We saw that some of you have registered at different time zones, and we're super, super grateful that you could allocate your time through the globe for this event. This is Shoaib Ahmed, and I handle growth at Field Proxy. Welcome to Quarter Past 30. Our Quarter Past 30 is essentially our attempt at educating participants on what's been happening in the industry over the previous quarter. Because let's face it, guys, uh, we're all busy people. No one has the time to gobble down three or four white papers, go through all the blogs, reading about the latest technology in your specific industry, kind of just to be in the know how of whatever industry you're a part of. It's simply not possible. So, what we're aiming with Quarter Past 30 is to give everyone, I mean, everyone, a quick overview of what's been happening within the industry, both within and outside the industry, but specifically what has been happening with the industry, how it's been performing, and everything. So, with Quarter Past 30, we are aiming to cover a range of industries every single month. And if you have any suggestions for industries, we definitely love to learn about them too. So don't hold back with the feedback, okay? It means the world to us. Other than, let's begin. In this session, we are going to take a look at everything, okay? The biggest trends, updates, and even, what do you call it? Even the news covering your particular industry. Basically, everything that's happened in the past quarter in under 30 minutes. And the industry that we are going to cover this week is industry that we're going to cover this week is the latest advancements in HVAC technology because um, we have actually seen a lot of growth happening with the HVAC industry. We believe there's been a lot of buzz this year with HVAC, and we're going to cover them all. Here's how. Uh, what we're going to cover in this session. First things first, we're going to take a look at market trends in the HVAC market, the numbers that matter. We'll cover how different regions and markets are performing and which businesses are impacting or sort of like driving growth. Okay. Next, we're going to take a look at what technologies are kind of driving this growth. There's been a lot of changes in the way HVAC businesses and service businesses supporting HVAC are operating, and we are going to take a look at some of them. Okay. And then we're going to end the session by taking a look at some of the biggest players in the industries. We call this section of the webinar favorite disruptors. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down how how these businesses or organizations are sort of impacting businesses around the world, sort of generating revenue by contributing towards the global uh, sustainability project. Okay. Everyone with me so far? Let's see. Maybe I had planned for a chat option, but since we don't have a chat option, if you could just raise your hands if you are still with me in this so far, that would be great. Let's see. Again, I see that Ronak has raised his hand. Satvik has raised his hand. Great. Mona has also raised his hand. Okay. Great, great, great. So just a small word about field proxy before we actually begin with the seminar. Um, if you have a field team, right? If you have a service team that actually goes from place to place handling all of your services and you find it difficult to manage them, you definitely need field proxy. With field proxy, you'll be able to track your agents live. You'll be able to measure what they've been doing, how they've been working, what kind of performance metrics you need to track. All of them, you can customize all of them. and then you can automate all of these service tasks and more, sort of to just all you have to do is sit back and relax. You, as a manager, you'll just have to look at your screen and know exactly what your field agents have been doing. And all of these things you can customize to your liking. You can tailor field proxy to your solution. Okay, so if you've got a field team, field proxy is the way to go. All right, that was a word from what we exactly do at field proxy. And now let's get started with the actual webinar. Right. So let's get started with how the HVAC market has been performing in 2022. Right, straight off the bat. Okay, the compounded annual growth rate has been sort of steady at around 7.5%. We believe that post 2018, we've seen a pretty steady increase in the growth of HVAC companies, um, as in the amount of growth these companies have shown. And this chart also reflects that particular statement. Right, the number, despite what we saw in India post 2019, where we had a lot of regulatory norms coming in place. We saw that energy impact was considered a big topic, and with that coming into effect, a lot of companies also had to sort of increase their prices and everything. It was a whole mess. But despite all of that, the industry, the HVAC industry, continued to see a growth in how their, what do you say, the AC volumes are being sold, how services were being done, and everything. It's pretty good to see, and it's projected to go up to 8.5%. Um, but we'll have to see how 2023 performs as well. So apart from this, we also saw that the revenue projections went up to $144 billion by 2026. This year, it's projected to reach around $123 billion, and by 2026, it's about to go up until $145 billion, which is again a really, really, really good number. It just shows you how much the industry has been improving and the direction, the kind of direction that the industry has been taking. That is great. Okay, and what are the key contributors towards this particular number, right? $144 billion by 2026. That is great. But which are the major contributors towards this? Who are the major contributors towards this number, right? I'm actually going to hand over the decision part to you guys, kind of like play around with it. Let's see. If you look at the polling section, I believe a poll should start on your screens. Just vote on who you think has been the biggest contributor. Which industry or which sector do you think has been the biggest contributor for the HVAC market? Right. Let's just see. This should be interesting how many people are voting for whom. Okay, great. We'll give you just another 30 seconds for everyone to vote, and we'll see how people are actually voting. Okay, okay. This seems to be an interesting thing. Let's see. Another 10 more seconds, and then we'll just show you the results. Okay, great. I'll just publish the results now, and then I will show you what the actual uh, numbers are, or who the actual, what do you say, winner is for that particular sector. Like, if you look at this poll, it says that you guys have voted like 50-50%, kind of a tie between hospitality and construction, when the biggest major contributor to the HVAC market in 2022 has been the construction business. See, we saw with 2022 a lot of growth in the construction sector. Okay. So we've seen a lot of growth in the construction sector, especially as things went back to normal early this year. So that was kind of interesting to see that a lot of people actually came out, started off their pending projects and everything. So construction business definitely has seen a spike in the rate of what do you say, HVAC services implemented. So definitely no brainer construction business. I don't know why it was a 50-50. I guess I can understand between hospitality and construction, there might have been a bit of confusion there, but yes, the winner was construction businesses, definitely taking a majority stake at how they impacted the HVAC market. Apart from that, right, not just the construction business, but we saw a lot of other businesses that were related to the HVAC market sort of grow at least by 10% or more. Uh, so it's not just the construction businesses. We saw, according to Modern Intelligence, it's been about 23.5% of all businesses that grew by at least 10% or more this year, which is an incredible sign for the market. Like I said, the $144 billion mark by 2026, we may achieve that earlier at the rate at which the industry is growing. So it shows a lot of positivity in the HVAC market going into 2023. That is a great thing. Um, and you'd imagine it to be constrained to only one or two regions throughout the globe, right? But this next, what do you say, market trend that we saw actually blew our minds. If you look, we actually saw something entirely different. India hit a personal record of 6 million AC units sold just in the first half of this year. That's pretty incredible stuff. Um, and if you look at the map, you can see that a lot of growth has been seen in the eastern regions. That is also some pretty interesting stuff. We see a lot of companies uh, in the North American parts and European parts sort of like lay emphasis on HVAC when the actual market has been growing, has been seeing a lot of growth. Between 2021 and 2026 is projected to see a lot of growth in the HVAC market in the eastern regions. So if you are a business who's just like trying to expand into other markets, definitely look into India as well as the other regions in the east. That is the way to go. Okay, so yes, there were some important numbers. These were some of the important numbers from the previous quarters that are really interesting to note down. This information should help organizations better develop their services according to the market and sort of prepare you for expansions if needed. We've seen that happen as well. But yes, that brings us to our next section, which is how this growth was made possible. The most noticeable technology and concepts that we saw this quarter that caught our eyes, we're going to cover them in this next section. If you're not implementing a thing or two from these concepts, maybe just pay a little bit more attention to it because we've seen a lot of early adopters reap good benefits, and it's only a matter of time before the rest of the world catches on. So be ahead of the curve. Implement these technologies if you haven't yet. Okay, so first things first, sustainability, right? Sustainability, really important concept that we saw gaining a lot of traction this year. Actually, for a few years now. This year was all about companies adopting efficient technologies, like systems that could help them save a lot of money from needless energy expenditure. We saw solutions like Energy Gauge and different software solutions, essentially like Energy Gauge, being used to measure energy ratings. Uh, these energy ratings would then be used to get proper consultations, so many more responsible energy efficient practices. So that was a really good thing that we got to see this year. Apart from that, we also saw advanced eco-friendly sensors. These are like green electronics. Green electronics was a really hot topic this year. We had a lot of companies implement cost-effective sensors that could just easily be replaced if there was any error without causing much damage to the environment. So advanced eco-friendly sensors, if you're not implementing them yet, maybe kind of look into the eastern regions and see how they're implementing these technologies, because we didn't seem to see a lot in the western regions, but in the eastern regions like India, eco-friendly sensors were all the rage. So uh, and third, automation. Automation. This is by far my favorite thing to happen to the HVAC industry since like well the AC, the air conditioner. But yes, a lot of organizations have actually started trying out automated service scheduling. Um, think about equipment checking notifications, greener usage, all of these things. They just like started implementing automation into all of these things to bring down operational costs by a significant amount. It's not just a little amount, it's like numbers have been going down by around 15, 20, 30%, as much as 30%. So automation has been a great factor on these things. It's actually a really welcome change, something that has been long awaited in an industry as old as HVAC. So that is something that you definitely need to take a look at. But then again, automation wouldn't be possible without this next point, which is IoT, right? With IoT, what we saw was essentially two sensors talking to each other. IoT. Any two machines wanting to have a conversation between each other to notify a manager or something. IoT. IoT for preventive maintenance. Like we mentioned before, preventive maintenance through automation is only possible due to devices communicating with each other. With IoT, you have sensors that are communicating with each other effectively and notifying of a possible malfunction beforehand, right? So it's essentially saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars in the process, because of faulty equipment, because of needless hassle with the service technician after they come. It saves both parties a lot of time, both the consumers as well as the service providers. It saves them hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year. This year has been no different. IoT, along with automation, has been a game changer for some of the biggest organizations that have been implementing this. Definitely something you need to pay attention to more. And at last, definitely data, big data at that. Organizations have been seeing, like I mentioned, with IoT, they've been seeing a lot of data come into their systems. Not a lot of people know what to do with it. The smarter people, they are using this data for better energy management. This is something people are heavily investing into, and if you are an enterprise that's watching this, you must, I wouldn't say must, but this is something that you definitely should be looking to invest into. Data is really important. We couldn't stress this enough. And I guess that's about it, guys. We've seen a lot more innovations happen this year, like sustainable VR, green hospitals, a lot of stuff. But these innovations have that we've mentioned here have been on like fire and have seen some major developments this year. And they are something that you definitely need to get behind. Even if you don't get behind energy efficient systems, maybe try and get behind automation and IoT. Definitely is going to help you in the near future. Now, with all that said, there's one company that we wanted to mention that brought all of these together and put it to use to help support greener and more sustainable futures. Uh, in this section, future disruptors is what we call it. We usually, what we do is we take a company or an organization that's been helping the industry or has been making waves in the industry, and this our pick for this session's favorite disruptors is Hitachi India. Uh, yeah, Hitachi India. Fantastic job with the collaboration with AIMS Delhi. AIMS, if you're not familiar with the Indian market, is stands for All India Institute for Medical Sciences. What AIMS has done with Hitachi is they've collaborated to form greener hospitals throughout the city, uh, starting with AIMS. What Hitachi did last year was sort of set up a solar power system, and then an HPFC system, and then a HVAC system, and sort of tied all of these three together through IoT and OT, is basically operational technology, and sort of put them all together in this beautiful mix that we saw happen, and which just transformed AIMS, right? If we had to talk about the solid numbers, it would be kind of this. They actually set up a 693 kilowatt power solar power plant. This solar power plant gave them a 30% increase in energy savings. If you had to put a number to that 30%, it would be around 12,781 megawatt hours in energy savings. And if that hasn't blown your minds yet, that is approximately $1.5 million in energy savings, in monetary savings, sorry. And that simply results in a carbon footprint reduction of 10,480 tons. We sort of include this section in our webinars to uh, help people understand or get people motivated into how sustainability and looking after the environment can help in also increasing your business's growth, overall growth. What Hitachi India has done here is beyond impressive. So definitely, our favorite disruptors for this session belongs to Hitachi India. Great stuff that we wanted to see. And then um, kind of wanted to have a few questions in hand, or an FAQ section maybe, but perhaps we'll do that in another session. Yeah. I guess we're running out of time. We have roughly about 8 more minutes before we actually close this call. So I'll just give you a quick introduction. Maybe we can have the FAQ section later, but uh, I'll just give you a quick introduction into what. Before we do that, we'll just like talk about what we covered in this webinar. We talked about market trends. We talked about what is happening with the industry, what are the critical numbers that you need to look at, and how you can use those numbers to help guide your organization towards the right direction in 2023, in the coming year. Then we talked about the latest technologies that were driving this change. So we talked about IoT, we talked about automation, we talked about different kinds of sensors and devices, and maybe heat fuel pumps and everything. So we covered a lot of different technologies, sustainable VR, uh, and we sort of saw how different companies were implementing these new technologies into their own businesses. Then we took a look at Hitachi India, one of our favorite disruptors in the Indian market, that was just making a great step towards sustainable energy while also uh, helping its own company grow. That was a great thing. That was a great thing that we saw. So that's about it for this session, guys. Like I said previously, I wanted to have an FAQ section, but this seems like we do not have a lot of time. Like we said, the HVAC industry has seen a lot of changes happen, and it wasn't possible for us to collate all of them into a single quarter. So I'll just end this section by talking to you really quickly about what field proxy does. Right. So what is field proxy? Right. Let's say you have let's say you have this is your HVAC team, right? They go about their own business, they do services, they handle technical operations and everything. And this is you, a handsome fellow, a manager, right? You want to know exactly what your field team has been doing all the time. You don't technically have a way for there's no there's no actual way for you to kind of like be with them and 24/7 and sort of monitor what they've been doing. But that is where field proxy comes in. So field proxy is a way for you to connect with your field teams in real time. So essentially, field proxy connects your service teams with your managers in real time. This can be done in a lot of different ways. You'll be able to know there's actually just a one-click solution. You'll be able to log in and you'll be able to view through your web app what your field team has been doing, no matter the size of the field team, 10 agents, 20 agents, 50, 100, 200, 800 agents, regardless of the field team size, right? What you'll be able to do is you'll be able to just log into the web app and see what your specific field agent has been doing. You'll be able to see in real time what the location has been, what data they've been collecting, what kind of services they've been doing, and even sort of pull this data out and integrate with your existing solutions. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Essentially, what Field Proxy does is it helps your service teams focus on their tasks better by eliminating needless paper forms, right? And all of this data that you're collecting, they can be integrated with your tools. You have Zoho CRM. You have what is the other CRM that we have? You have Zoho CRM. You have Freshworks. You have uh, HubSpot. Regardless of, it basically connects with everything, right? You have 100 plus office tools and CRMs. Field Proxy can connect with everything. It can just help you manage your jobs better by providing by eliminating all of the needless actions that you need to do to get your data from one place to another. You even have uh, a mobile app through which your field teams will be able to place orders on the spot for service parts. Say your service agent goes to a location or a customer's location, and there they notice that okay, this part has been damaged and I don't have this part. They'll be able to request for a part replacement immediately through the app itself and give the customer a fair estimate about how much the part will cost and everything. So that's about it, guys. That is what Field Proxy can do for your business. If you feel like um, if you if you have a field team, Field Proxy is definitely for you. If you want to try it out, just scan this little QR code thing right here, and you'll be taken to a demo request page where you can just sign up for free demo, check out the product, or have our sales team contact you at any given moment, and they would be more than happy to guide you through the entire process of how Field Proxy works. So that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for joining. We still have about 3 minutes to go, but I feel like there are no Q and A's coming in yet. So I'll just leave this QR code at your disposal. Scan it. You have 3 minutes to scan this thing and go and book yourself a free demo. Uh, Thank you so much for joining the call. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's been a little over 35 minutes, and we're so glad that you took some time off your holidays to watch this webinar. Uh, to those of you who couldn't join us, we will be more than happy to send you a recording of the webinar. Just shoot us a DM or shoot us an email. We'll be getting in touch with you soon. Thank you so much for joining the call. Merry Christmas and very happy holidays. This is Shoaib Ahmed signing off.